What's up, YouTube? It's Kenny again. I am heading to Texas for repairs. I got a nice long full day of driving today. I plan to do about 640 miles, somewhere around there today, and trying to get back there and keep my fingers crossed that it doesn't take them a week to do all this work. That's the one thing about the company that I work for, is that whenever you go in to this Irving, Texas location, which is near, which is my hometown over there, whenever you go in there for repairs, man, they're not the fastest. Okay, so one time I was in for some body work and I was there for like 8 days, and the truck had to go to the Kenworth shop for some stuff, and man, it's going to have to go to the Kenworth shop for repairs to my APU. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I can get in and out of there in a few days. But anyway, wanted to make a video today and just kind of riff off the top of my head some stocks that I like on a 5-year time horizon, okay, in different sectors. I've been thinking a lot about this during this downtrend in the market. Like if I was to shift to a longer term view, like would the things in my portfolio change, and how would they change? And what are the stocks that I really do like on a longer time horizon? So first of all, I'm not a financial advisor, guys. I'm just a truck driver driving across the country, researching and trading stocks, and I will not be held responsible for any moves you make in the stock market. Not ever. I'm not your mama. You got to do your own research, guys. But this is, according to my research and my thoughts on the matter, that's what we're going to talk about today. Hit that subscribe button for me, guys. Mash on it. Like the video. And let me know what you think about the stocks I'm talking about. And maybe give me some ideas of stocks that you like on a 5-year time horizon, particularly in these industries that I'm going to talk about. And I'm not talking about super risky penny stocks and stuff like that, guys. I'm talking about stocks that I really think have a strong possibility to double, triple, or more over the next 5 years. All right. So first of all, you can't make a video like this without talking about electric vehicles. Okay, and electric vehicles, EVs, are all the rage right now and have been for quite some time. And there are certain players in that field that stick out to me that may not necessarily be the same ones that stick out to the majority of people. Of course, you've got Tesla, and I think that they are going to be the leader for at least the next 5 years. Okay. And possibly well into the future beyond that. And really, to be honest, as an investment, Tesla fits into more than one of these categories that we're going to talk about today. Okay? Because a lot of people, and I see people in the comments section talking about Tesla, how it's overvalued, and people have been saying that since it was $100 a share. I mean, pre-split and stuff. People have been saying that forever, and yet it continues to go up. Tesla is not just a car maker, okay? They're not just a car manufacturer. They've got so many irons in the fire that are forward-looking and moving into the future that, yes, on paper they're overvalued, but when you look at the value, the potential value of the company 5 years, 10 years into the future, looking at companies that are set for exponential growth, okay, you can't really go by the normal PE ratios that you may look at on a Coca-Cola or a General Motors or something like that. You know what I mean? You have to really take into account that, they've got solar, they've got, on top of the autos, they've got solar, they've got software. When it comes to full self-driving, they're ahead of the game. They're ahead of everybody, so that leads into autonomous taxis. Then you've got their Powerwall, so home battery storage and software related to that, and you've got their solar roofs, and you've just got all of these things and potential for insurance, and just so much potential in Tesla that it's really hard to get a really good valuation for the company. I mean, you can't just look at what they're doing right now, okay? So Tesla is one that, especially with this downturn and with them being around $600, I mean, I'm down in the stock really heavy because I bought around 800. But, man, I still believe in it over the longer term. I mean, I think that this stock easily could be, you know, 1,500 in the next 5 years. I mean, and probably way sooner than that, guys. So, Tesla is one, okay? And it fits into, like I say, a lot of these different categories. So when you're talking about EVs, okay, there's a lot of people who are into certain companies. You know, NIO is a big one, which I do think NIO is going to be successful over the longer term. Just personally for me, I'm not interested in investing in Chinese companies, okay? There's a lot of a push there, but there's also a lot of a push here in the United States, and I don't like the regulatory issues and, you know, the fact that their government can pretty much do whatever it wants over there. It's risky to me. I also don't really care for NIO's battery swap thing. You know, when I think about it and run the numbers on it, it just doesn't seem viable. It's viable now when they don't have a whole lot of cars on the road, but what happens when they have a whole lot of cars on the road? Like, are they going to be able to have enough batteries at all these stations? Are they going to be able to have enough stations? And then, you know, they say 5-minute battery swap. Okay, right now when there's only one guy coming up there because there ain't very many cars on the road. But what about when there's a whole lot of cars on the road? You got to sit in line for 45 minutes to get your battery changed. So that's something that I don't care for about NIO. A lot of people like Lucid, CCIV. Not a big fan, guys. They're not going to sell a whole lot of cars because cars are going to be expensive. They're already pushing their production back. That, like they were saying, they were going to deliver at the end of or this year. They're going to be selling cars. Now they've pushed it to next year. They don't have any kind of full self-driving stuff announced. I mean, the car looks nice, but nobody's driven it. You know, when are they going to deliver one to like a car and driver so that they can test and see if their numbers are accurate? I'm not on board with the Lucid thing. Who do I like in the EV sector? I like Tesla, and I like Lordstown Motors, okay? Pickup trucks, man. Lordstown Motors are the only ones that are going to make a pickup truck. And with the government talking about electrifying America's fleet, there's a lot of pickup trucks involved in that. And nobody else is making one. And they've got a big factory, one of the 3 biggest factories in the United States. They're going to be pumping out cars. Trucks. They're on pace to do that by the end of the year. And they've got a ton of pre-orders. Lordstown Motors, I'm big on Lordstown Motors. And, you know, the price right now is super cheap. I'm down in it. I bought it at $20 thinking that was a really good price. And it's come way down in this correction. So Lordstown Motors and Tesla. And then Hyliion, guys, when you're looking at semis, Tesla and Hyliion. Tesla for the shorter haul stuff, Hyliion for long haul drivers. Now, there's a possibility that Hyliion could get disrupted if Kenworth and PACCAR and some of these companies that already manufacture truck engines get into this game. That could be disrupted. But as of right now, Hyliion is the only one that has a solution for long haul trucking. And Tesla, you know, they've got a really good solution for short haul. So Tesla again. Those are the 3 main companies that I'm looking at. I also like Aero. They're not necessarily making cars and trucks or whatever, but they're making a lot of very useful vehicles for things like college campuses. I liken them to golf carts because that's typically what's used in that application now. Like at the truck stops, they'll have a golf cart that's got a pickup truck bed thing or a little trailer on the back of it, and they run around picking up trash and stuff like that, or doing maintenance. And then on, like with Aero, they're going to be doing these college campuses and food delivery type vehicles, smaller EVs, shorter range. I like that company. So that's my main ones that I like in the EVs. Okay, I do kind of like Workhorse. Okay, because I think that there's going to be a big demand for EVs in that last mile delivery type space, and I think that they're a good option. There's just a lot of turmoil happening now that they didn't get the USPS contract. So I'm not sure if I would, like, if I was building a portfolio just for EVs, I would probably be in Tesla and in Lordstown Motors, probably the heaviest, and then a little bit of Aero in there. That's where I'm at on EVs right now. There's a lot of other companies, you know, but like I say, I kind of stay away from the Chinese companies. So, you know, Tesla and Lordstown Motors mainly are the ones that I like in the EV space. And then Hyliion when you're thinking about semis. And Tesla, of course. If you're buying Tesla, you're getting the best of both worlds. So that's where I feel, that's what I feel about the EV sector. I know this is going to be kind of a long video. I'm just riffing off the top of my head. You know, I've done a lot of research over the last 6-8 months about all this stuff, and these are just the ones that stick out to me, okay? Again, hit that subscribe button, guys. So now let's talk about energy. Let's talk about solar. You know, I haven't found a lot of companies that I really like as far as wind is concerned. But solar is set to have exponential growth over the next 10 years, okay? And I really do think that solar is where we're going to end up. You know, solar and wind are the two that we're going to end up using the most in the future. And in the solar sector, like when I look at solar stocks, okay, I'm looking at some profit margins, okay? Like if you look at the companies like First Solar, these companies that primarily manufacture solar panels, the profit margins are not real great because they have to compete with each other on price, because the technologies, the solar panels themselves are so similar. Whoever has the cheaper one more or less wins until there's some kind of a major innovation that changes that game. So I don't really like the First Solar, Canadian Solar. I don't really like the ones that manufacture solar panels. SunPower apparently has a little bit more innovative solar panel, but I'm not sure just how I feel in general over the long term with manufacturers. Where I do like is the inverters, because the two main players in the inverter space are SolarEdge and Enphase, and they have pretty different technologies, and it's the technologies that are competing against each other. And because they have the biggest market share between them, they don't have to so much compete on price. So it's not the cheaper one wins, it's the better one wins, because the technologies are different and they kind of have different applications, okay? I'm not going to go too deep in it, but I'll just say that SolarEdge, their system is more like a daisy chain, where if one solar panel gets broken, the rest of them don't work, and if one gets shaded, the rest of them put out less power. It's kind of like a string of Christmas lights. If one breaks, you have to go through and fix the bad bulb, and then they all come back on. Otherwise, if one bulb goes bad, the whole string goes out. Whereas Enphase puts individual inverters, so if one's shaded or broken, the rest of them still function correctly. So I like Enphase over SolarEdge for that reason. But with that said, they are both major competitors in that space. I also like Orbital Energy Group, OEG, which may technically, it was a penny stock not long long ago, but it's not at this point. And, you know, I think that they're more in the project management and construction aspect, where they will go and make a bid to build a huge solar farm. And I really think that they're poised to become the leader in that space. And I think that that's particular stock, ticker symbol's OEG. I think that particular stock really has the potential to experience massive growth over the next 5 years. Okay, so I like that one a lot. Those are pretty much the three in the solar sector. And then Tesla. Okay, Tesla, they're talking about making their own inverters, which could put them in competition with SolarEdge and Enphase. They do installation. They have the solar roof. They have the power wall. You know, Tesla fits into the solar category as well. Okay, so if I were building a portfolio around solar, that's what it would have. It would have Enphase, Tesla, and OEG. Those are the three that I like the most in that sector. Okay, OEG would be my growth. Enphase would be just what I consider to be a really solid pick with a high profit margin and also growth. And then Tesla, you know, man, they do it all, guys. And I expect for the solar aspect of Tesla to really do a lot better over the next 5 years than it has historically. Yeah. So, what else? EV charging, guys. EV charging, like, I was really bullish on ChargePoint, and I still kind of am. I really like EVgo as well. I think it's CLII is the ticker symbol, and it hasn't done too well. Like, people have just not really caught on to it or liked it, because a lot of people in the blogosphere, internet, have not had good things to say about it. But I do like EVgo long term. I like their strategy of putting these fast chargers in, like a Walmart, a Whole Foods, Albertsons. You know, I like the fact that they want to put these in places where you're already going to be parking your car. You know, I dig their business model. ChargePoint, of course, they're the biggest, so you know there's potential for them to do really well moving forward. And now the prices come down after the merger, so it could be a good investment at this point. But you know, J-Mac mentioned something, and I have noticed this and thought about this in the past. But guys, you know, we're all hyper focused in the EV charging sector on these pure plays on EV charging, like ChargePoint, EVgo, EVbox, all these. But I think it's kind of being overlooked. Okay, Shell, the gas station Shell, has just announced recently that they're going to start putting charging in their gas stations. Okay, and I think this is going to happen moving forward, guys. I think that, you know, Shell, Chevron, QT, all these different gas stations are going to start putting these chargers in there. I mean, it's inevitable for that to happen. And I'm not really sure, excuse me, I'm not really sure how that's going to affect ChargePoint and some of these others. I think that it's part of the reason why I like EVgo so much, because they're aiming to put them in Walmarts and Albertsons and places where you're already going to be in the store for 20-30 minutes. You know, so I really like EVgo because of that. And you know, I really do think that Shell and all these gas stations could begin to disrupt plays like ChargePoint and EVbox and some of these other companies that are going to make freestanding charging stations and stuff like that. I think that is going to affect the market in EV charging. So if I were to build a portfolio just around EV charging, I would probably put a little Shell in there, and I would go with ChargePoint and EVbox on a 5-year time horizon. And I would try to get all of those as low as I possibly could get them, because I think that that's an industry that, you know, is hyped up, but is not necessarily going to have huge long-term gains. But I do think that those EVBox and EVgo and ChargePoint are probably the two that I like the most as far as pure play charging, and that's where I'm at with that, guys. So that's just 3 sectors. I don't want to make this video too long, but that's kind of 3 sectors and where my head is at with them, and a little bit about why. I haven't gone super in depth on any of these companies, but I do have theses around these industries and where I think they're headed. And I really think that solar and EVs are a good place to be for the future. I think that there's a possibility of genomics, but I just don't really understand it well enough. And I've seen a lot of people, or a few people at least, say that it's one of those type of deals where we've been just on the precipice of these major advancements, and it's been 5 years away for the last 15 years. You know what I mean? So I just don't know how well I trust it and how well I trust my knowledge of it. You may have a different take on that, and that's fine. But if I were to invest like over a longer term horizon in genomics, in that space, I would probably buy ARKG, because I trust ARK Invest to have a more complete understanding of that space. And so if I wanted to invest in it, I would probably buy ARKG and let them understand it and make the moves that I don't really understand. And to be honest, I like the ARK funds, and I wouldn't have a problem investing in ARKK and ARKG in particular over the long term. I like both of those funds. I mean, it's a lot more fun to pick the individual stocks, and if you pick right, you can perform even better than those funds. But I do like ARK's strategy. I like Cathie Wood. I like the way she thinks. I watch all the videos they put out and stuff, and I do think that they have a really good strategy. And so if I were inclined to go the ETF route, you know, I would be looking at ARKK and ARKG, and I would be looking at TAN in the solar sector. Those are 3 ETFs that I would look at long term. Alright guys, so I just wanted to talk about some of those. I know I didn't throw out all the ticker symbols and stuff, but I think you could pretty easily find all that. Do your own research. You know, if you are the type of person who wants to look at a 5-year time horizon, those are stocks that I really like, and I really think that if you look at them 5 years from now, you will have made a substantial amount of money on them. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, and let me know, you know, are there stocks that I missed that you like, or, you know, am I way off base, and why? You know, teach me something. Hit that subscribe button and like the video. Thanks for watching.